The crystalline spires of the Galactic Council's executive chamber pierced the violet skies of Centaurus Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 setting suns. Inside, Kexlar stood motionless, his obsidian armor absorbing the chamber's ethereal glow. 97 successful planetary subjugations had earned him his title, the final word. When worlds refused to bow to the Council's will, they sent him to end the discussion. Earth requires your attention. Supreme Counselor Verthan's voice resonated through the chamber. Their existence threatens the harmony of our expansion. Kexlar's metallic fingers traced the edge of his neural blade, the weapon that had ended civilizations. Elaborate, he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of service. The chamber's holographic display ignited, revealing a small blue planet. They've detected our observation probes, Verthan continued. Their technological progress has accelerated beyond our projections. They're preparing. Preparing. The word almost amused Kexlar. He had heard similar concerns before. The Arcturians had prepared. The Zintheri had prepared. Their preparations now served as cautionary tales across the galaxy. Show me their capabilities, Kexlar demanded. The display shifted, showcasing Earth's military forces, their primitive nuclear weapons, their fledgling space program. But something else caught his attention. Their information networks, their rapid technological adaptation, their decentralized power structures. Interesting, he mused. They lack unity, yet they advance despite their chaos, or perhaps because of it. Verthan's expression darkened. There's more. Our deep cover operatives report they're developing quantum communication technology. Crude, but advancing rapidly. They might detect our cloaked ships within a decade. Then we strike now, Kexlar declared, before they're ready. Not so simple, Verthan cautioned. Our standard protocols may be insufficient. These humans, they're different. They don't just adapt. They thrive on adversity. Every disaster, every war, every plague has only made them stronger. Kexlar's neural sensors detected Verthan's elevated stress patterns. The Supreme Counselor was afraid, not of the humans' weapons or technology, but of something else. What aren't you telling me? Kexlar pressed. The chamber's lights dimmed as Verthan accessed restricted files. New images appeared. Humans rebuilding cities after nuclear accidents, developing vaccines during pandemics, creating art in war zones. They're unpredictable, Verthan explained. Other species follow logical patterns. When faced with superior force, they submit. Humans, they don't. They resist even when resistance is futile. They unite despite their differences. They innovate under pressure. Traditional subjugation tactics may backfire. Kexlar absorbed the information, his neural processors analyzing patterns. You fear they might become stronger through defeat. Precisely. We need this handled differently. No public displays of force. No ultimatums. They must be broken subtly, from within. That's why we chose you. The executioner's head tilted slightly. I usually end civilizations, not subvert them. Which is why they'll never suspect. You'll go alone, officially separated from council service. Establish a human identity. Infiltrate their power structures. Identify their true weaknesses. Then, when the time is right, help us break them in ways they can't recover from. Kexlar's neural blade hummed softly, responding to his rising interest. A challenge after so many routine executions. These humans were either remarkably capable or the Council was remarkably worried. Perhaps both. And if I determine direct action is necessary. Verthan's reply was immediate. Then you'll have the full might of the Council fleet at your command. But understand this, Earth cannot be merely conquered. It must be thoroughly broken. Their potential is too dangerous to leave intact. As Kexlar left the chamber, he accessed Earth's data streams, studying their languages, cultures, and conflicts. But something nagged at his centuries-old tactical circuits. In all his executions, he'd never seen the Council take such precautions. Never seen them so concerned about a pre-FTL civilization. What he didn't know was that deep beneath Earth's surface, in hardened bunkers and hidden laboratories, humanity wasn't just preparing. They were waiting. The discovery of the observation probes hadn't sparked panic. It had confirmed what they'd long suspected. They weren't alone, and they weren't defenseless. Project Oracle, hidden from public view, and even from the Council's deep cover agents, had been analyzing alien transmission patterns for decades. They didn't need quantum communications to know they were being watched. They just needed patience, ingenuity, and humanity's greatest weapon: the ability to turn their adversaries' assumptions into advantages. The game was about to begin. But neither Kexlar nor the Council realized they weren't the only ones setting the board. The human identity Kexlar had chosen belonged to Alexander Kane, a private military contractor with convenient gaps in his background. For 3 months, he had infiltrated Earth's defense networks, gathering intelligence while maintaining his cover. But today, something changed. Project Oracle's quantum detection grid activated precisely as he transmitted his latest report to the Council. In a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the signal pattern, a smile playing at her lips. "Got you," she whispered. Across the globe, carefully disguised defensive systems hummed to life. Not the obvious military installations the Council's probes had observed, but a web of experimental technologies integrated into civilian infrastructure. 20 years of reverse engineering alien tech from crashed probes had yielded results. Kexlar first noticed something was wrong when his neural interfaces encountered unusual resistance. Earth's primitive networks were suddenly displaying advanced encryption patterns. He initiated a deep scan, only to find his quantum processors struggling against unexpected countermeasures. "Impossible," he muttered, his human disguise momentarily flickering as his systems fought against the intrusion. In the Oracle facility, Sarah's team tracked the alien's digital footprint. "He's good," her colleague, Dr. James Martinez, noted. "But he's following standard Galactic Council protocols, exactly like the probe data suggested." Sarah nodded. "They never change their playbook. That's their weakness." She initiated the next phase of their operation, a subtle virus designed to feed false data through Kexlar's neural network. Above Washington, D.C., the Council's cloaked observation ship received Kexlar's emergency signal. Captain Venera, monitoring the Earth operation, felt the first stirrings of concern. Their legendary executioner had never requested backup before. "Status report," Venera demanded. Kexlar's response came through garbled. "Earth's defensive capabilities, significantly underestimated. They've been." The transmission cut off. In the streets of Washington, Kexlar fought to maintain his human appearance as his systems crashed and rebooted. Pedestrians walked past, oblivious to the battle raging within their midst. He ducked into an alley, his tactical processors screaming warnings. Sarah's voice came through his neural network, speaking perfect galactic standard. "Welcome to Earth, Executor Kexlar. We've been expecting you." For the first time in centuries, Kexlar felt something approaching fear. Not of detection. His mission was already compromised. But of something worse: being wrong. These humans hadn't just prepared. They had anticipated. The Council ship above received his emergency evacuation request, but as they moved to retrieve him, their systems suddenly failed. Earth's atmosphere lit up with a network of energy fields, previously invisible technology activating in perfect synchronization. "Clever," Kexlar admitted, finally dropping his human disguise in the empty alley. "You leaked the probe locations. Let us think we were watching you." "While we were watching you," Sarah confirmed. "Did you really think those probes crashed by accident? We needed to understand your technology, your protocols, your weaknesses." Above, the Council ship found itself trapped, unable to cloak, unable to escape Earth's gravity well. Venera watched in horror as Earth's supposedly primitive defense systems revealed their true nature. Kexlar drew his neural blade, its energy field sputtering against the human countermeasures. You're still outmatched. The Council fleet won't come. Sarah interrupted. Not until it's too late. Check your latest transmission to them, the one we let through. Kexlar accessed his outgoing communications log. The message he'd sent reported Earth as a non-threat, recommending minimal surveillance. He hadn't sent that message, or had he? Your neural network's been compromised for weeks, Sarah explained. We needed time to prepare our global defenses. Thank you for the delay. In the Oracle facility, Sarah watched multiple screens showing similar scenes playing out worldwide. Other Council agents, similarly exposed. Other ships, trapped and contained. You should have killed me when you had the chance, Kexlar warned. Sarah's response caught him off guard. We don't want to kill you, Executor. We want to talk about the Council's true plans, about why they really sent their deadliest weapon on an infiltration mission. Kexlar's neural processors raced, analyzing possibilities. The humans couldn't know. The Council's secret directive was encrypted in his deepest protocols. Earth isn't just another conquest, is it? Sarah pressed. The Council's scared, not of our weapons or our technology. They're scared of what we might become. For the first time in his long existence, Kexlar faced an enemy who had outmaneuvered him before the battle even began. But as he processed Sarah's words, another realization struck him. The humans hadn't exposed him publicly. They hadn't launched a counterattack. They were offering dialogue. Why? He demanded. Because unlike the Council, we learn from our enemies. We adapt. We evolve. And right now, you have a choice to make, Executor. You can be part of that evolution, or you can be remembered as another failed attempt to subjugate humanity. The alley fell silent as Kexlar processed his options. Above, the Council ship remained trapped, its crew realizing too late that Earth's primitive appearance had been the perfect deception. The game had changed, and for the first time in his long career as the Council's executioner, Kexlar wondered if he was fighting for the wrong side. In the depths of Project Oracle's facility, Kexlar sat motionless, his neural systems disconnected from external networks. Across the table, Sarah Chen studied the being who had ended civilizations with the same casual interest one might show a museum piece. You still haven't told me why the Council is really afraid, she said, sliding forward a tablet displaying classified Council documents. But these might. Kexlar's optical sensors scanned the information. His processors froze. These are forgeries, he declared, but uncertainty crept into his voice. The Council didn't send you here to prevent our technological advancement, Sarah explained. They sent you here because of our biological potential. Humanity's rate of natural evolution is accelerating, isn't it, Executor? Above Earth, the Council's response fleet had arrived, only to find themselves unable to penetrate the planetary defense grid. Supreme Counselor Verthen faced an unprecedented crisis. Their most feared executor was compromised, their initial force contained, and Earth's defenses had revealed sophisticated capabilities that shouldn't have been possible. Launch the pulse, Verthen commanded. The order that would fry every electronic system on Earth's surface. Their containment protocols had failed. Now they would resort to devastation. But as the pulse weapons powered up, something unexpected happened. The energy didn't propagate outward. It reflected back, amplified by Earth's defense grid. Dozens of Council ships went dark, their systems overloaded by their own weapons. In the Oracle facility, Kexlar watched the feed with growing fascination. You adapted our own pulse technology. From the probes we captured, Sarah confirmed. But that's not what interests you, is it? You want to know how we evolved enough to understand it so quickly. Kexlar's neural processors finally accepted the truth in the classified documents. Humanity's genetic structure was changing, generation by generation. Their neural plasticity, their adaptability, their ability to survive and thrive under pressure. These weren't just cultural traits. They were evolutionary advantages. The Council fears you'll become like the precursors, he said quietly. Sarah leaned forward. Tell me about them. An ancient species that evolved beyond physical form. Their consciousness became pure energy. The Council erased all records of them, but they couldn't erase the fear. Every species that shows similar potential for rapid evolution is eliminated. Like Earth, you're advancing too fast. Your ability to understand and adapt alien technology, your neural evolution, your genetic resilience. The Council sees the patterns. They've seen them before. In orbit, Verithen received the damage reports with growing dread. Earth's defenses hadn't just repelled their attack. They had absorbed it, grown stronger from it. Exactly what they had feared would happen. Launch the biomass converters, he ordered. Sterilize the planet. But as the order went out, communication channels across the Council fleet lit up with an unexpected transmission. Kexlar's voice, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is the final word, he announced, using his formal title. I have confirmed that the Council has violated its own primary directives. The extinction protocols they plan to use against Earth are forbidden technologies, preserved in violation of galactic law. In the Oracle facility, Sarah watched as Kexler made his choice. He wasn't just exposing the Council, he was doing it in a way that would fragment their authority. Every species under Council control would receive this transmission. The humans aren't a threat to galactic stability, Kexler continued. The Council's fear of evolution, their suppression of advancement. These are the true threats. I have transmitted proof of their violations to every member world. Verithen watched in horror as his fleet's command structure began to collapse. Some ships withdrew immediately, their captains unwilling to participate in illegal extinction protocols. Others turned their weapons on each other, centuries of hidden resentments erupting into open conflict. You planned this, Kexler said to Sarah. You needed me to verify the Council's crimes, to give your evidence credibility. Sarah nodded. Humanity doesn't want to destroy the Council. We want to change it. Evolution isn't something to be feared. It's inevitable. Natural. The Council's attempt to preserve their power by preventing change was always doomed to fail. Through his neural sensors, Kexlar felt the ripples of chaos spreading through the galaxy. The Council's iron grip on power had depended on absolute authority, on the fear of executioners like him. Now that authority was crumbling. There will be war, he warned. No, Sarah corrected. There will be evolution. Political, social, technological. The very thing the Council fought so hard to prevent. And Earth will help guide it. As the Council fleet descended into chaos above, Kexler made his final decision. His neural blade, the symbol of his authority as executioner, clattered onto the table. Then I will help guide it too, he said. Humanity's potential shouldn't be eliminated. It should be embraced. The galaxy needs to evolve. The breaking point had come, not just for Kexlar or the Council, but for the entire galactic order. And humanity, the species that should have been easy to subjugate, had become the catalyst for revolution. The galactic order unraveled with breathtaking speed. Within days of Kexlar's broadcast, a third of the Council's member species had declared independence. Another third demanded emergency sessions to investigate the extinction protocols. The remaining loyalists rallied around Verithen, who had declared Earth a terminal threat to galactic stability. In Project Oracle's command center, now serving as Earth's impromptu galactic embassy, Sarah Chen coordinated with representatives from dozens of worlds. Kexlar stood beside her, his centuries of experience proving invaluable as they navigated the chaos. The Arcturians have joined our coalition, he reported, neural networks processing diplomatic feeds from across the galaxy. Their fleet commanders remember being subjugated. They're eager for revenge. Sarah shook her head. Not revenge. Reform. We're not replacing one form of tyranny with another. Across the room, Dr. Martinez interrupted with urgent news. Verithen's loyalists are moving their doomsday vault from Centaurus Prime. They still have worse weapons than the extinction protocols. Of course they do, Kexlar confirmed. I helped build their arsenal. But they never understood what made me effective. It wasn't the weapons. It was understanding how species think, how they fight, how they survive. And how does humanity fight? Sarah asked, though she already knew his answer. Like nothing I've ever seen. You don't just adapt to overcome obstacles. You transform them into advantages. The Council's observation probes became your learning tools. Their invasion became your catalyst for unity. Their executioner became your ally. On screens around them, the galaxy burned. Council loyalist forces clashed with liberation fleets. Centuries of oppression erupted into open rebellion. But Earth, the supposed primitive world that had started it all, was implementing a different strategy. Launch the Liberation Protocol, Sarah commanded. Across the galaxy, dormant quantum processors hidden within captured Council probe debris activated. Earth's virus, planted years ago, began spreading through Council networks. But it didn't destroy. It revealed. Every species under Council control is seeing the truth, Sarah explained. Not just about the extinction protocols, but about their own potential. The Council didn't just suppress technology. They suppressed knowledge about evolution itself. Kexlar watched in amazement as the virus unlocked classified archives on every Council world. You're giving them access to their own histories. The Council's genetic suppression programs, the eliminated research into consciousness evolution, the truth about the precursors. Knowledge is the ultimate weapon, Sarah said. And humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our adaptability. It's our desire to understand, to explore, to push boundaries. Verthan's response was swift and desperate. The Loyalist fleet launched simultaneous attacks on Earth and key rebellion worlds. But they faced a transformed enemy. Earth's defense technology had been shared with their allies, creating a network defense grid that spanned dozens of star systems. They still don't understand, Kexlar observed as another Council attack failed. They think this is about military victory. But you've already won the real war, the war for truth. In the Oracle facility's lower levels, something extraordinary was happening. Representatives from different species gathered around a unique quantum computing core, a hybrid of human innovation and alien technology. Dr. Martinez had dubbed it the evolution engine. Show them, Sarah instructed. The engine activated, projecting a galactic map unlike anything Kexlar had seen. It didn't show political boundaries or military positions. It showed evolutionary potential. Species after species lit up with possibilities that the Council had suppressed for centuries. This is what they feared, Kexlar realized. Not just humanity's evolution, but the knowledge that all species could evolve. The precursors weren't an anomaly. They were a natural progression. And now every species knows it, Sarah confirmed. The Council's power wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their control of information, their suppression of potential. We didn't just break their military power. You broke their narrative, Kexlar finished. Their fundamental justification for control. Above them, the battle for Earth's orbit had become a rout. Verthan's loyalist forces, facing weapons they thought impossible for primitive species to create, began to retreat. But the real victory was happening on thousands of worlds simultaneously, as species after species awakened to their own potential. Through his neural networks, Kexlar felt the transformation sweeping the galaxy. The Council had created him to be an executioner of civilizations. Instead, he had become witness to their rebirth. There will be chaos, he warned again. Not every species will handle this revelation peacefully. Sarah's response reflected humanity's unique perspective. Growth is always chaotic. Evolution isn't a peaceful process, but it's better than stagnation, better than suppression. The galaxy needs to evolve, even if the path is difficult. As reports flooded in of more Council worlds declaring independence, of ancient technologies being rediscovered, of species beginning to explore their own evolutionary potential, Kexlar understood the full magnitude of what humanity had achieved. They hadn't just defeated the Council, they had transformed the very nature of galactic civilization, and they had done it not through superior firepower, but through humanity's most powerful traits: curiosity, adaptability, and the unstoppable desire to grow beyond imposed limitations. The chains were shattered, not just for Earth, but for all species who dared to evolve. 3 months after the Council's fall, Earth had become the unlikely center of a galactic renaissance. The Oracle facility, once a secret defense installation, now hosted the first Galactic Evolution Congress. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to shape a new future, one without the Council's restrictions. Kexlar stood at the facility's highest observation deck, his neural sensors processing the unprecedented gathering below. Sarah Chin approached, carrying a device that would have been impossible under Council rule: the Consciousness Translation Matrix. "The Andromians have achieved their first successful consciousness transfer," she reported. 2 centuries of Council suppression, undone in 3 months. "Because they had humanity's example," Kexlar noted. "Your species doesn't just adapt. You inspire others to adapt." Below them, the Congress chamber hummed with activity. Former Council worlds presented discoveries they'd hidden for centuries. Suppressed technologies were freely shared. Species that had once feared evolution now embraced it. But not all news was peaceful. On the main display, Verthan's final transmission played on repeat. "You've doomed us all." The precursors were contained for a reason. Some boundaries shouldn't be crossed. The former Supreme Councilor's ship had disappeared into uncharted space, along with the most radical loyalists and their deadliest weapons. The threat for another day. "He's wrong," Sarah said firmly. "The Council didn't contain the precursors. They contained everyone's knowledge of them. Fear of evolution was their tool of control. Through quantum feeds, they watched as changes swept the galaxy. The Arcturians, once a warrior species, were rediscovering their suppressed empathic abilities. The Xinthary's collective consciousness, stunted by Council restrictions, was expanding across their entire species. Humanity's greatest contribution wasn't technology or military strategy," Kexlar observed. "It was showing the galaxy that evolution isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace." In the Congress chamber, Dr. Martinez unveiled humanity's most ambitious project yet: the Universal Evolution Protocol. Not a weapon or a tool of control, but a framework for species to safely explore their own potential. "We're not leading them," Sarah explained. "We're growing with them. Each species evolves differently. The Council's mistake was trying to enforce uniformity." Kexlar's neural processors registered a profound shift in his own consciousness. Centuries of being the galaxy's executioner had given him unparalleled insight into species' potential. Now that knowledge served a different purpose. "The Council was right about one thing," he said. "Humanity's pattern of evolution was unique, but not because it was dangerous, because it was inclusive. You don't just evolve yourselves, you help others evolve." Around Earth, a new type of defense grid took shape. Not walls to keep enemies out, but bridges to bring allies in. The quantum network that had defeated the Council now connected thousands of worlds, sharing knowledge, culture, and possibilities. "There will be challenges," Sarah acknowledged. "Some species will evolve in ways we can't predict. Some may even transcend physical form, like the precursors." "And humanity?" Kexlar asked. "Your own evolution continues." Sarah smiled, touching the consciousness translation matrix. "We'll face those changes together, as a galactic community. Evolution isn't a race to some final form. It's an endless journey of discovery." In the Congress chamber, representatives voted on the first galactic constitution since the Council's fall. Its primary directive was simple: all species have the right to explore their evolutionary potential, bound only by the obligation to respect others' same right. The former executioner processed this profound shift. The Council had sent him to end humanity's potential. Instead, humanity had unlocked the galaxy's potential. "What happens next?" he asked, his centuries of certainty replaced by something more valuable: curiosity. Sarah gazed at the stars, now filled with possibilities instead of threats. "We explore, we grow, we face new challenges, but most importantly, We do it together. Above them, the first joint expedition ships prepared to launch. Human innovation combined with alien technology, crewed by mixed species teams. They would seek out the precursors not to contain them, but to learn from them. Verthan's warning echoed one final time through Kexelar's neural network. Some boundaries shouldn't be crossed. But humanity had proven that boundaries weren't walls to be feared. They were horizons to be explored. The galaxy wasn't just changing, it was evolving. And for the first time in millennia, species weren't just allowed to grow. They were encouraged to reach their full potential. The Council's greatest fear had become the galaxy's greatest hope. Evolution without limits, progress without suppression, unity through diversity. Dawn broke over Earth as the Congress session ended. A new age had begun, not just for humanity, but for all species who dared to dream, adapt, and evolve. The executioner who had come to end humanity's story had instead become part of its greatest chapter. The moment when one species' defiance sparked a galactic renaissance. Evolution's dawn had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.